at the SAT practice test. Number 5, math without calculator. So number 1, it asks for the equation representing the graph. So because this graph is diagonal, we know that the slope is 1, so that y increments the same as x. And because the y-intercept is also 1, it should be plus 1 after x. So the answer is D. And number 2, what's the length of the minor arc? Here, because this is a right angle, is a quarter of the whole circumference of the circle O. So it should be a quarter of 36, which is 9. Number 3, what's the solutions of this equation? An easier way to do this is just to plug in and check. If we plug in -1, this is 4 minus 8 times -1, which is 8 plus 8. And then -12, which doesn't give us 0. So which does give us 0, because here is plus 8. And then we check -3 and find it doesn't work. And we try 3, it works. So the answer is B. So number 4, which graph doesn't have x-intercepts? If a graph has intercept, it means that when you plug in y equals 0, it has points on the x-axis. So the first, this works sometimes, because it doesn't say it cannot cross the x-axis. And the second one, it has real zeros, meaning it has x-intercepts. And the third one, no real zeros, meaning it doesn't cross the x-axis. So it may be something like this, which is the correct answer. And number 4, at least one real zero, so it will also cross the x-axis. Number 5, if x equals 9, so we just plug x equals 9 in, and we get square root of k plus 2 equals 9. Then give us k plus 2 equals 81. K equals 81 minus 2, which is 79, which is answer D. Number 6, sum of these two expressions. So we just add them together, and the -1 and +1 cancel out. So we get square A plus A. Number 7, so we know this person has 2 jobs, and we know the prices of each job. And it says she cannot work more than 20 hours. So first here, the hour of first job and hour of second job cannot exceed 20. It also says she wants to earn at least this amount of money. So this amount has to be bigger or at least equal to 20, which just give us number 3, C. Number 8, it asks for the meaning of this number, and from the context we know s is the speed of the sound, and this is in relation to T, which is the temperature. So if we plug in T equals 0, we get S0 equals this number, which means when the temperature is 0, the speed is this number, which corresponds to number 1. Number 9. So it asks for the value of x times y, and x has to be greater than 0. So first of all, you just plug in the first equation into the second, and you get 2x squared plus 6 equals 2x plus 6, and the 2 6 cancel out, and you get this equation, and both 2's also cancel out. So it says x has to be greater than 0. So here 0 cannot be an answer. So the only answer is x equals 1. And plug this back to the first equation, we get y equals 1, 2. And x times y equals 1 times 1, which is also 1. Number 10. So which one is equivalent to this? So we just plug in the first two equations into the last one, and we should get 4 times a squared plus 4 times b squared and plus 8ab, and this is just a perfect square whose formula is a squared plus b squared plus 2ab equals a plus b, and the whole thing square. So here we just get the perfect square of 2a and 2b. And here it asks for the volume of the second cylinder, and from the first cylinder we know that, so just plug in the equation for the volume of right circular cylinder. So it's pi times 0. R, which is the radius, and times height. This equals 22. And now we have a second cylinder with pi times, so the radius is twice the original, so it's really 2r square, and then times half the original height. So 2 square is 4, and 4 over 2 is 2, this gives us finally pi times 2 times r squared times h, and it asks for what's this. So we find out this is twice the original equation, which is 22. So we get 2 times 22, which is 44. And number 12. So this one is really the 4. So it should be x to the 4 equals 9. We know the square root of 9 is 3, and then square root this again equals square root of 3. And then square root of 3 of it times each other together give us 3 times square root of 3, which is number D. So number 13. So we are given this function. T is the number of t backs, and n is the number of t. So we can just plug in numbers to this function. So first we can plug in t1, meaning how many t bags do we need when we want only 1 cup of tea. And t1 equals 3. And we then try the case when n equals 2, so 2 cups of tea. And this gives us 4. So we know that there is 1 more tea bag with 1 additional cup of tea. So it's number B. Choice B, I mean. And number 14. So as for the y equals negative f of x, you can just think about the symmetry. If it's negative f of x, meaning for every original value of y, it becomes the negative of it. So if this is the original function, it will be like this, which is the negative reciprocal, symmetric to this x-axis. However, this graph is not the correct graph for the original graph, because it's a exponential graph. 2 to the x should be something like this. So if it's symmetric to the x-axis, it should be something like this, which is the correct answer, choice D. Sorry, I mean choice C. Number 15. So it asks for the, he wants to spend $5 less. We can just first delete this one and this one, because we assume you use 100 minus 5 to get 95, which is incorrect, because you cannot use a number of mile minus a price. So number A and C are wrong. just look at choice B and D. We know that m is the number of miles, and use it to divide it by 25, which is how many miles per gallon of gasoline. Then we can get the miles, and then times 4, which is how much it costs for 1 unit, which is the price, and this should equal $5. So choice D is the correct answer. And number 16. So we know she wants to spend less than this amount of money, and it also costs additional $10 just for the safety. So first use 280 minus 10, which is amount of money that can be used for rental cost, and then this divided by 60 give us 4, and we don't care about the remainder because it cannot exceed 280. So the answer is 4. Number 17. So just simplify this equation. We get 2p plus 2 plus 8p minus 8 equals 5p, and then 10p minus 5p equals 6, and we get p equals 6/5. And number 18. So we get x So it also just needs simplification. So just open the parentheses and we get x plus y/2 equals 21/2, and then plug in the second equation in, so just x plus x, and then we get x equals 21/2 and then divided by 2, which is 21/4. Number 19. So it wants us to simplify to this form, with whose denominator is x plus 2 square. So in order to simplify, we just times the later part of the equation by x plus 2. So it becomes minus 2 times x plus 2 over x plus 2 square. With this form, it can be minused from the first part. So it becomes 2x 2x plus 6 minus this. And this is 2x, this is 4. So it gives us 2. So the final function becomes this one. So a equals 2. Number 20. So because this is a straight line, so this angle plus this angle equals 180. And because this is a triangle, these three angles, the sum of these three is also 180. So this angle equals these two angles, the sum of these two angles. We know this is 23, and this is also a straight line, so this angle equals 180 minus 106, which is 74. And if we use 74 add 23, we get 97, which is the answer for x.